Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about voice recognition softwares. Uh, I'm going to start with the one that comes with Windows 10 since it's the one that we're going to be using in this video. And well, some things to take into account when talking about Windows 10 voice recognition is that it's actually pretty easy to implement for the Windows users. Um, Another advantage is that it's pretty easy to set up also inside of Unity. So in our case, um, this voice recognition has a lot of advantages. Another thing is that although it is not considered the best speech recognition, it's actually pretty decent and when developing projects inside of Unity, it can be a really good option. The other speech recognition softwares is the one from IBM called Watson. It's actually a more advanced speech recognition and and for example it can give you the possibility to customize the recognition model. This means that you can customize the voice recognition so that it uh, adapts to your needs. And another voice recognition software is the speech-to-text that created by Google. This is, I think that the advantage of this voice recognition software is the flexibility that it gives because of the API that it has. Another thing that's interesting, although other speech recognition softwares have, is that you can decide to recognize voice in on real time or by uploading a file. And finally, just so that we know that there are other softwares. Right now, I think that the best software speech recognition software is considered to be Dragon. And now Dragon was actually the first commercially speech recognition software. So it's been out in the market for a while, and well, it's actually considered the best right now. So the question would be, which one is better? Well, it actually depends on what you want to develop. If you're making an app that requires a lot of precision when recognizing voice, well, perhaps you will look for a more complex software that can give you that. But if you don't need a lot of precision, well, you can go with a less complex software. For example, speech recognition is also used in video games. There's a very popular video game called Phasmophobia. It's a horror game, and uh, I think uh, that it uses the voice recognition that comes with Windows. It was developed in using the Unity engine, and you can talk to the ghost because using the speech recognition. So the ghost inside of the game can recognize the words that the player is telling him, and depending on the words that he uses, the ghost will react differently. So it's just an example of perhaps you wouldn't you you don't need a very precise speech recognition software for a game, for example. Well, it also depends. Um, but yes, that will be it for this small explanation. So we can hop to the next thing. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to use the speech recognition that comes in with Windows 10. Now, of course, it is important to take into account that this speech recognition will only work on Windows 10 users. So the first thing that we have to do is make sure that the speech recognition is enabled, because by default it will be turned off. So the first thing that we want to do is go here to your search box and type settings. And once we are in the Windows settings, we will go scroll down and find the privacy button. So we will head into privacy, then click on speech. And as you can see, we want this to be on. As I said before, this will be disabled by default. So simply click it and it will be on. Once you have it on, speech recognition should be working inside of Unity. Now, I want to show you something else that's important. If you go back into settings and if you find time and language, click it. Then we will go again into speech. And as you can see, my default speech language is Spanish from Mexico. But if I click it, I can see that I also have English of the United States. So this is interesting because this will affect the speech recognizer inside of Unity. So if I am talking in Spanish, it is important that I have my speech recognition in Spanish. But if I am going to be talking in English, it is important that I have selected English. Now, if you scroll down here, you will see that my installed voice packages are, yes, English and Spanish. But if you go to manage voices, you can add other voice packages. For example, if I click here, you will see all the options that are available. And it depends on what you're trying to achieve. For example, um, we have Chinese, we have Arabic. So there are various options that you can work. But remember to select the voice package and click add. And once you add it, remember to select it here. For now, I'm going to work with English. But once we do our small script, uh, I can show you how this affects the speech recognizer inside of Unity. But for now, I'm going to leave it in English. Okay, so we are all set. I'm going to close this window. Now, once we are inside of Unity, I want to show you, mm, let's create a simple script. And I'm going to name this script um, speech recognizer. Speech recognizer. Cognizer. Okay. Now that I have my speech recognizer, I will double click to start editing. Now, it is important, in order to use the speech recognizer, I need a certain namespace. So we're going to include that namespace, which is in Unity Engine. Then we will go into Windows. Then we will go to speech. Okay, now that we have imported this namespace, included this namespace, we can start using the dictation recognizer. So what I'm going to do is create my dictation recognizer. So I'm going to say that it's a private dictation recognizer. As you can see, here it is, dictation recognizer. And I'm going to say dictation dictation recognizer. Okay, there we go. Oops, I have a typo here. Dictation. Okay, cool. Okay, once we have our dictation recognizer, we can start by, it's important to note that we won't be needing the void update for this example, only the void start. So inside of this start method, let's create an instance of the dictation recognizer class. So we can say dictation recognizer will be equal to new um, dictation recognizer class. Okay, cool. Now we have our instance of the class, and the the logical next step to would be to say, okay, so I want to dictation recognizer. Well, I want to start my dictation recognizer. This is true, but actually, if we run this code inside of Unity, it will do nothing yet, because the dictation recognizer needs two things. The first thing is a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an the attempt that the dictation recognizer will do when hearing your voice. For example, is if I say hello, the hypothesis that the dictation recognizer might get will be hell. But then we need the second thing, which is the dictation result, which is which will be determined with the help of the hypothesis. So once the dictation recognizer gets a hypothesis, it will attempt to get the correct result. So let's start by calling the hypothesis event. So we can go dictation recognizer dot and as you can see, here it is, dictation hypothesis. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to call an anonymous method. This can be done inside of C#. So I'm going to call the anonymous method with an argument text. And I'm going to, and geez, okay. It's gonna appear on the left hand side of. Yes, it's okay. Here we go. Then I'm going to print into the console log form hypothesis, so that we can see what the hypothesis is. And I'm going to open these keys. This means that what this means is this will be printed into console hypothesis, and inside of these keys it will appear what I have in my text here. So now that we are printed into console, the next thing that I want to do is display the text that I'm saying inside of Unity. So let's go back into Unity. I'm going to create UI text. Here it is. Actually, it's not appearing inside. I don't know if it's because it's too small. Yes, it's pretty small. It's right over here. I'm going to scale this a bit. Maybe 10. Yes, I think 10 will do. Okay, what I want to do is what I say through the microphone, the words that I say through a microphone, I want them to appear here. So we're going to create, let's create two texts. The first text will be my hypothesis, and the next text will be my um, result. Okay, so we have our hypothesis up here, and we want our result to be down here. Okay, so let's go back into the script. I want to save my text, so I'm going to create a serialized field, and I'm going to create a private text called hypothesis. And as you can see, I'm having an error. That means I'm missing a namespace, Unity Engine dot UI. Here we go. And once we have that namespace, we can see that the error has disappeared. And let's create another. No, sorry. Yes, we have our hypothesis. So what we want to do here is whatever hypothesis the speech recognizer has recognized, I want to store it inside of my variable hypothesis. So I'm going to say that text, my hypothesis.text will be equals my text. So I'm storing the text that this the hypothesis that the speech recognizer is getting into my variable that I just created. But we are not done yet. We have our hypothesis, but we need our result. So let's create, let's store in our dictation recognizer result. Let's call another anonymous method, and we will call our method, and let's say text, and we will say and I'm missing does not take, yes, this is important because the dictation hypothesis takes one argument, but the dictation result actually takes two arguments, and these two arguments are called, the first argument is the text, what the dictation recognizer is reading, but it also needs the confidence. The confidence is the variable that will tell the speech recognizer, for example, if um, I'm saying any word, any sentence, this variable called confidence will tell the speech recognizer what things to ignore, and this variable can be changed from low, medium, and high, depending on your needs. So for now set I'm going to set it to I don't know, medium. Let's see how that works. Okay, now that I have that, I will go into printing back into the console log format, and I will say this is my result. And I will open keys once again and give the argument, that's my text, in this case the final result. And just as I did with the hypothesis, I want to create another serialized field, but this time it's not going to be my hypothesis but my result. Okay, now that I have my result, I want to store in my variable result dot text the final result that the speech recognizer has read. Okay, now let's go back into Unity, let it compile, and let's try our small code. I'm going to create an empty game object. I will call this my speech rec manager, and I will drag my script. And as you can see, I have nothing assigned here, so it is important because it will give us a null reference object. So I want to drag my hypothesis text into this box and my result text into this box. Okay, now it should be working. Let's click play, and I'm going to say any phrase, and it should appear here. So let's hit play. Hello. And you can see this was the hypothesis, and everything I'm saying is appearing in the text. It's a little, sorry, I can move this one, this, I'm going to move it a bit over here, and I think I can change a bit the scale. Okay, let's hit play once again. And as you can see, everything that I'm saying is being written on the screen. What I wanted to show you at the beginning of the video is how the speech recognizer can be controlled by selecting a different language package. For example, I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go time and language, speech, and I'm going to change it to Spanish. For example, if I say a word in Spanish here, I think it has stopped reading. Hola. You can see that hola, it's not actually the hola from Spanish because we are in English. So what we're going to do is change it to Spanish. I'm going to hola. And as you can see, now it is the Spanish version. And as you can see, I'm talking in English, and it's trying to read the words, but with the Spanish language. That's why it's writing all crazy stuff here. So that's a very simple implementation and how you can um, configure the speech recognition so you can use it inside of Unity. And well, there are various methods and interesting methods that the speech recognizer has. Um, and well, that will be everything for today.